Well, hey folks, back off Flies RC. Big shout out to Hobby Zone for sending me out the Tecnam 2010, and we're going to unbox her and put her together. Now, I've had this plane when it was first released, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I enjoyed the plane, and I ended up selling it to a club member who wanted it, and that was the end of it. Of course, like always, I wish I had ever got rid of that plane, and then sure enough, Hobby Zone said, well, going with all of our Arrows products, we're going to be getting the Tecnam back in stock, and we would like you to do your unbox, build, and video of the Tecnam. I'm like, well, I don't have one. They said, well, we can fix that. So they sent me one, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 2 videos. We're going to unbox it and put it together, then we'll take a break, then we'll come back and do a second video on how to do the radio setup. Alright, so let's get our handy dandy knife here. This has the vector system, so you're going to need at least a 6-channel receiver. Okay, that way you can take advantage of all 3 levels of the vector system. Those 3 levels are going to be dynamic mode, which is, or direct mode, which is no gyro at all, just you controlling the plane. Optimized mode, which is like wind mitigation, okay, and or AS3X, and then stability mode, which is the same thing as self-level or safe in the spectrum world. All right, now when you unbox this and you undo the straps and everything, like I say, your gear shows the bottom, but I think we take it out from the other side. No, maybe not. Looks like you take it out. Nope, I guess you do have to take it out from the other side, but you can see it. It's not going to fall out. It's kind of wedged in here. Now this has a 1.450 meter or 57-inch wingspan. She runs on a 3S. She's got a 30 amp ESC, so not 4S, 3S only. Needs at least a 6 channel. She's got 6 9-gram servos, and then 1 I think it's a 13-gram metal servo for the drive that nose wheel. Got 11x7 prop, and she runs on a 2200 but 3S, but I'll be running on a 2700 hobby stuff. Anyways, oh, they sent me the one with the floats. Okay, I didn't know they were going to do that. I will not be flying here on the floats. I'm not a good swimmer. Okay, but like all Arrows products, everything is built to drop off the back of the truck and not get damaged. Okay, so undo your crossbeam. These right here, this metal here, is for the front section, so I just suggest just leaving that alone. Just leaving that like that. Okay. Down here, and then of course you got your float. So this has a working rudder, actual servoed rudder. So that's cool. In this section here, there's a pocket with a bunch of stuff in it, so don't, but you'll see it. So don't throw it away. There you've got your bag of goodies, your spinner, wing clips, all your peripherals that you'll glue on. Manual's not folded, which I wish they would do that with all of them, but for whatever reason they just want to throw it in there. There's so many different manufacturers that are bad about that. Now these little wires here, keep track of these. They're not part of the structure of the plane, they're part of the float system. So keep track of those. Alright. Nothing in that. This is your wing spar. This is a very simple plane. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now though, this plane is for hard surface landing, or unless you have a very well manicured field. Because the front nose gear on this cannot tolerate really heavy rough terrain. It's not, this is a land at the airport kind of plane. Okay, And like all Arrow's products, you can see the individual cells, but you cannot feel them. This is just as slick as can be. All your screw connections are into metal, metal into metal. Nice foam hinge with a laminate in there, so I won't have to do the hold the foam treatment until later on in its plane's life. It's got nav lights. Interesting wing, how it angles in right there. The wing, very nice. It has a wing spar already in the wing, and then of course the one that you slide in. So, it does have functional struts, and you do have to have them. They are necessary for the flying rigidity of the plane. This is the famous nose gear. Now, the holy grail of this plane is to find a way to hook up a nose gear and put on a larger wheel and lose a skirt. Because the metal structure that runs down here stops here, and then the wheel is held into hard plastic, so they're not actually connected to each other. So you would have to come up with your own assembly if you wanted to lose this skirt and lose the other skirts and just run on just open wheel. That's entirely up to you. That's one of the reasons why they give you a heftier servo to ride that nose gear. I don't consider that a drawback of the plane. It's just this plane is designed to land on harder surfaces and not rough terrain. It's not a bush plane. It's an airport plane. All right. Big battery bay. You got your vector system there. Everything is labeled that you're going to go into your receiver of choice. I'll be using an AR620, or you could use a Limit RX 7-channel Stability Plus receiver. This does have the ability for thrust reversing, which would be great for floats, however, like Bigfoot now does. However, you would need to unplug the throttle cable from the back of the Vector and plug the throttle cable directly into your receiver, and then peel off the yellow pigtail and put it into an open channel and assign it to a 2-position switch or a 3-position switch, whichever you prefer, to turn to reverse thrust your ESC. Now that's great for floats, but for this plane here, this plane slows down just fine. You should need thrust reversing. Honestly, you shouldn't. I've had a jet, you're coming in really hot, and you're rolling down a runway, you're going around a runway. Yeah, thrust reversing is very helpful. Plane like this, though, you really don't need it. So 6-channel will be fine. Very nice elevator. Very nice foam hinge that's has a strong laminate on there. But regardless, you always work your hinges. Okay. The rudder servo is already hooked up for you. So, all right, let's take a look, make sure we don't have anything left in our foam coffin here, which I don't see anything else. Put this over here, keeping track of my debris. Now, one thing with this plane, when you put your your battery hatch on, make sure you push that back in place. Don't just put it down and think, oh, okay, good. No, it's not. You have to hear that snap back in place, because otherwise she's not done. She's not snapped in. It is a 11x7 prop, just so you know. All right, and these spots on top here, these holes are where you're going to put some glue in peripheral. So you'll have to have some glue. There's an antenna spot underneath here where you'll put an antenna in down there. So, all right. Let's start with our gear. Take your wings, put them off the side. We're going to start with our gear. Okay. Thing to have have yourself, if you're not going to use a plane stand, have yourself an old pillow. Okay? It just makes it nicer for you to have an old pillow. And that way, you'll press down on the pillow and not on the top of the plane. Alright, now, if you look at the bottom, this nose gear. See how that structure is there? It only looks like it only shaped a certain way. Look at the top of that gear. Shaped a certain way. Alright. Now, you take this hatch off. And look. See this tiller arm here? Tiller arm? Okay. You're going to want this tiller arm to come up and to line up in this plastic channel of this 13 gram servo right there. Okay, metal geared servo. So, that's why you leave the battery hatch off. Okay. Go ahead and get your little bag of goodies out. I think this is a 2mm hex drive, I believe, is what it's going to take. Okay, so, prop spinner out. Get our Velcro out. Got you some nice zip ties for cable management. A flap Y. A rudder Y. Okay, because your rear rudder and your top front rudder. Okay. Actually, that probably is for the water rudder. Yeah, that's going to be, just hang on to that. Okay, you're going to put that off the side. You're not going to need that unless you're going to hook up the floats. Okay? This is what you're looking for right now, your little bag of goodies. And these are all those plastic peripherals that I was talking about. Okay? Now these here, these actually are going to go in these areas here. There should be another. Should be 4 of them. Now these actually are retaining clips for your. You're going to put your screws through this. Okay, it's going to hold in your gear. Okay, open up your bag of goodies. All your metal. All right, pull out your control rod, spinner, and right now we're looking. You're looking for screws this size here. Okay, they're just a small hex head. Should be 2mm, and it is. Okay, you're going to need 3 of them right off the bat. Okay, 3 of these. You're going to fish, have them handy. You're going to fish, remember that tiller arm I talked about? Fish that through there. Okay. Now push that into place, and then you want to make sure that the top of that tiller went through that rudder servo, right up in there. They're lined up right up through the middle. That way, when I turn the servo, it'll turn that gear. And I know it, and it kind of frictions in there pretty good. You don't want to turn it a little bit. Okay, take your screws, and you had to turn it because you got to line up that front screw. This is where having that pillow underneath there is a huge help. Nice and tight. Okay, has an obvious stopping point. Okay. Excuse me. All right, we're going to do a little extra step right now to help for parts management. If you ever want to use the floats, okay, push this back now, hear that gear. This is where you would connect your floats, okay? So, you're going to take the 2 pieces that have the rounded ends, you're going to put them, just let them drop into place. That way you've got them in case you ever need them. Alright, right? Take 2 or 4 of those same size smaller screws. Get you 4 of them out of your little screw supply. Okay? And then go ahead and anchor these down. And that way they're there. You never have to lose them. They're right here, actually attached to the plane. Okay? This is just one of those mundane things that you just have to do. Okay. And that way, on top of that, if you lose some of the screws, you could stand to lose. You got a couple extra there. All right, now where is our gear at? Our main gear. The main gear. I've set it down somewhere. As you can tell, I'm not what you call spit and polish when it comes to, it's probably right in front of me. And I'm just seeing, all right, we will pause while I go look for the gear. It's probably, y'all probably see it, and you're saying, it's right there. Hold on. Okay. I forgot I left it in the back of in the underside of that box. All right. Got your connection points. Okay. Let that just drop into place. It's obvious. The longer part goes to the back of the plane, like that. You're going to take these two. Shape specific, they have a specific shape, you cannot get it wrong. These two retaining support braces, or whatever we want to call them. I'm going to get 4 of these smaller screws again. They're about a 1/2 inch long, okay, metal screws, and that is a 2mm hex drive. Okay, you're going to drive that in. Now, these gear are noisy. You're going to hear that whenever it lands. That doesn't bother me at all. Some people absolutely lose their brain with it and they can't handle the noise. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. So, if it really, really bothers you, you can get you some food grade silicone. And what is it? Silicone they use to lube food processors and things. You get it online, a little tube of it's like $11. It's the same thing. It's like canopy grease, like on RC boats. The grease they use to seal things, same stuff, except it's just a whole lot cheaper. And if you get just food grade silicone, because food grade silicone will not eat your foam up, and that's the whole point of it, to get the food grade. But anyways, you put a little bit on that axle. That'll take a lot of that sound out. All right. We now have front of the plane put together. Okay. Turn our attention to the tail. All right. Obvious. The control arm is going to go down. Okay. It's going to go down. You're going to take your elevator. You're going to slide it into place. See that hole there? Right there. That's the only connection this elevator has. Okay, it's the only connection point. Okay. Fits in one way. Okay. You're going to take your rudder, grab a hold, put your finger on the rudder servo, pull this way. Pull that servo in towards you. And that exposes that hole right there. Okay. You're going to take another one of those short screws. Okay. And that's why you expose that hole, because Put in your 2mm hex drive, support the underside, and you can kind of see the hole kind of line up there. Yeah, you'll see it, it's obvious. Yeah. Should drop right into place. Bottoming out point. Okay, now you can take that servo arm and push it back with your thumb. All right, now that takes care of that. Okay, turn our attention to the wing. Now, you're going to have to get yourself some side crimpers. Okay, like these. And you've got this little white zip tie, okay, right there. You're going to have to cut that. Now be careful. Do not cut any of your wires. Be very careful just to cut the zip tie only. Okay, take your wires, then hold them at the base, and then just kind of pull them through your finger to straighten them out. They're just a whole lot easier to deal with when they get all them little bends out of them. Set it off the side. That's your other wing. Okay. When I summoned, the landing gear was still in the box. I just wasn't paying attention. Again, be very careful just to cut the zip tie. Nothing else. Okay. Straighten them out. They just, when they're straightened out, they're just a whole lot easier to deal with. Okay. Now you've got one that's labeled gear, which is actually the light. One that's labeled flap, that's for the flap. The one that's not labeled is your aileron. Okay? So, grab your wing spar, fish it right in there in the wing. Okay. If you look on the side, see that hole towards the front and that big square channel? Okay, I'm going to put that wing spar in that hole. Okay, and then as I get closer to that big square channel, I'm going to take all three of them wires and fish them through. Well, I'm going to try to anyways. Okay. Come on, guys. Work with me. Work with me. Oh, sorry. They actually go in that channel directly underneath the wing spar. Right there underneath that wing spar. See that hole right there where my finger is? That's where they feed through. Duh. Okay. Don't let them get wrapped around the wing spar. They need to fish down in there. That way you can grab them from the inside. Okay. Should start to feel them and unfilling them. Okay. Come on. This is where it helps to have them straightened out some. Let them just fish on through there. Come on. This is just one of those tedious things you have to do. Sometimes you just take an object, just kind of shove them on through there, because you don't want them to get crimped. Okay. I'm going to go there and try to grab them now. Alright, good. I got them all grabbed, and now the wing can line up and fall into its connection points. Okay? You see, there they all are hanging there. I'll go ahead and grab them the rest of the way, kind of pull them down. Okay? Then you're going to take your more of them little B screws. You'd have 4 left. You may get 1 extra. Okay, you got 4. Okay, and there's actually going to be 2 after that. 1 will hold the front of the spinner on. You'll end up with 1 extra. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 of them. And this is where it's crucial to get your wing lined up right. Okay, make sure that back one's lined up right. Okay? And get that screw all the way down, support underneath, nice and tight, and you'll feel it bottom out. It has a very obvious bottoming out point. Okay? Take another screw. And if it doesn't quite line up, this is where you're going to use that back screw that you just put in as a pivot. I'm going to pull that wing a little bit towards me. I'm looking for that screw just to drop into place, and there it goes. All right. Now that wing is on there. Okay. Still got these other 2 screws. I'm going to go ahead and put them back there. All right. Come over here. I'm going to grab this. Grab the plane. And because of the angle, go ahead and get that 1 spar lined up. Okay. I'm going to take the plane. I'll let gravity be my friend. Okay. And let those, I put sideways on the table, whatever you got to do. Hold it in place. This is where having someone to help you would be great. But, you know, hey, plane stand would be good too, but this is where I want gravity to help me pull the wires through there. And I'm just gently pushing them in. I'm not like, you know, just let them kind of feed themselves on in there. Okay? You do not want these wires. And reach in there, get a hold of them. You can see I got a hold of them now. And that wing will just fall into place. Just like that. Okay? Now I can proceed on. Get the 2 screws. I'm going to get this back one in there. Make sure that the back screw holding that wing is in there good. Okay. Nice and tight. Okay. And then I'm going to pull in on the wing towards the front to make sure that front screw lines right up. Okay. Push forward a little bit on it, and that screw, there it goes, should line right up. Okay, that wing is now on there. But you see, it's got a lot of movement. That's where the wing struts come into play. Let's go ahead and put our, well, you know what, we'll leave it off for right now. Go ahead and take the plane, grab our pillow again. Oh. Okay. Turn the plane upside down. Now look at these struts. If you notice, they're angled on either end. Look at those structures right there. All right, so that's telling me that I got to be flat right there, and this has to be at an angle. Well, sure enough, just like pieces of a puzzle, that's going to go just like that. The angled end is going to fit right on there, and that's going to pop right there on that nipple right down there. All right. Now, unlike the Bigfoot, where I said to open up your cotter pins, you're not going to do that this time. Instead, you're going to leave them nice and flat. There's a little hole that you want to line the longer part of your, let me just show you on the camera real quick. If you look right there, there's a little hole right there. Okay, get your strut on there, get that kind of pop on there, trying to hold us in place and do it at the same time. Not easy. Okay, we'll do the bottom one. Do this one first. That way that holds that in place. Take another cotter pin. And these are sometimes called body pins. They look like little pins. Hold that in place. get that hole. You may have to really press down to get this to line up good. Okay. Might even try to put it in from the rear. Yeah, from the rear works better. Okay. Well, this is just one of those things. You may have to fight a little bit with it. All right, and that went through there. And that's what it should look like when it's all done. Okay? Now that gives that wing a lot more rigidity, which is what you want. Go ahead and get the other cotter pin. Okay? Look through this one, this top one here. Alright, that one's done. We're going to do the same thing down here. We'll kind of have. Sorry, we're back. Okay, you got to call that cotter pin in place really good and fish it through there. Again, it may take some doing to get it to line up. And once you get it all done, you'll have the cotter pin there, the cotter pin there, and they're pushed back. And that, outside the prop, is the basic build. Okay, well, let's go ahead and finish it up. Okay, put our canopy on, and remember, click that back in. Take your back plate, your spinner, has a hexagon shape. Get on there nice and tight. Take your prop, the bladed part towards you where they will turn this way. Put that on there. Take your spinner. Okay. Same tool that you've been using all along. Okay. And then you're going to put right to tight. Okay. Nice and snug. Not so snug that you're going to strip it. Okay. And you're going to take that spinner and that last, the next to the last of that little short screw that we've been using so many of, 2mm hex drive, and that's going to screw in to the front of that prop adapter. Okay. Okay, now that is on there. Alright, now the only thing left to do is get you a little bit of your glue. I like the Chinese glue that comes with so many kits. Unfortunately, this doesn't come with it. Let's review this real quick. We're going to put on our peripherals, okay? Alright, you've got one short, straight antenna. Okay. All right. Okay, I see how it goes. All right. The short antenna with a thicker base on it, okay, is going to go right here. Okay. Almost to the top of the wings there. Put your liberal amount of your Chinese glue on there. Let that fall into place. Okay. The next one you're going to grab is the one that's angled back. Okay. Nice amount on there. That's going to go in place. And that's how that should look. Okay. Now, turn your model over. I'm going to have to hold it because those things aren't dry yet. Okay. And the antenna that looks like this, that's angled back. Okay. In fact, how am I going to do this without touching the antennas? All right. See the problem with having to do this and film and talk, narrate, and wham. Okay. Get that on there. That in place. And that's how that should look. It's angled back. The last little bit that you're going to do are the steps, because this plane has steps, okay? I believe that they go right there. Yes. All right. See the T structure? Glue's right there. All right, so this is where I'm going to use a plane stand because I don't want to touch them antennas. So I got a 2-part plane stand here, and here, which you can get on Amazon. However, they're out and they've been out for quite a while, so it won't do me any good. Just make sure I don't touch those antennas. Okay, get my glue and liberal amount on that T section there. And that moves in place somehow. How does that go in there? Can't just be like that. It's got to be at an angle. Okay, yeah. The T section, it fits one way and it fits flat in there. Just like that, okay? I'll get my other one, get it all glued up. Okay. They fit in there flat, just like that. Now that you're going to let that sit for a little while because you don't want that to come out. Okay? That's how that should look when it's done. It should look like little steps, which that's the whole thing. All right, we're going to pause right there because that is the basic build. I'll let that antenna dry, and then we'll come back and do the radio setup. You're saying, well, you didn't hook up your elevator. You're right, I didn't. I do that whenever I put the radio and I apply power to it, and that way I know the servo is centered before I attach the elevator control rod. When you're done, you're going to have all these little black screws, okay? These little black or grub screws, and that's part of the float system that attaches the float pieces together. Do not lose these little screws, okay? Put them in a little baggie, glue them inside the plane, something like that, you know, a piece of plastic. You want to keep those because that's what you'll use to attach your floats, or put them in a little bag and attach them to your floats and keep them in the box. When you get out with the basic assembly, you should have them grub screws, one long screw, one body pin left, and then one of them screws that we use for everything, the little shorter screws. You should have that left over. So you get one extra of everything, and I'd be willing to bet there's an odd number of grub screws there, and that's what you use as your extra one. Now, we will be using the flap Y, but that'll be part of the radio setup video. All right, well, that's the basic build. I hope you enjoyed it. Hobby Zone, thank you for the Tecnam 2010. And we'll do a radio setup, and then hopefully tomorrow we'll get it out for a maiden, along with the weather will cooperate. All right, y'all have a good one. God bless y'all, and don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and the Tecnam 2010s. Bye-bye.